Welcome back, everyone, to the 23rd episode of Blue Collar, White Collar with me, Kieran, and my co-host, Nicholas. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing very well today, Kieran. How are you?
Spectacular. Although I have to be up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work tomorrow, so we're doing an early record today.
Whew, early, couple kids. You are not sleeping in anymore.
No such thing.
No such thing. So we got a couple of different subjects to cover today. We're going to be jumping around a little bit. The topic that I would like to kick us off with is a topic that I'm very excited about. It's kind of very recent. What was that?
I said near and dear to your heart.
Near and dear to my heart, okay. Yes, it's my guy, Zoran Mamdani.
Mamdani!
Who just had a big win. Mamdani's had like the most epic 2 months, I think, of any mayor in New York history. Why? Well, first of all, the New York Knicks won the NBA championship, which they hadn't won in I think over 50 years.
It's that Muslim magic.
All of a sudden, because Mamdani's only been in for 6 months, right? So this was the first NBA run with Mamdani as mayor. There's also the fact that the World Cup finals will be in New York City.
Oh, they are.
Right? The world is going to descend on New York.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter because the Americans aren't going to win that.
No, of course not. But just to kind of have a celebration of...
It's a big deal.
Global culture. Mamdani is someone who is, who's made celebrating cultures of all types a big part of his brand. But that is not the thing that I'm excited about. It's the fact that Zoran Mamdani has emerged as of Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, as a kingmaker in New York City. He has been able to transfer his power and his popularity and actually gotten other candidates elected into key spots. People who listen to this podcast will know that the midterms are coming up. So right now, nomination races are happening across the country, where Republicans are going against Republicans, Democrats are going against Democrats, to decide who will be the candidate for either a House seat or a Senate seat, governors races, all kinds of races. But in New York, Democrats win pretty consistently, right? The main race is actually the nomination races between Democrats, right? We saw this with Mamdani going up against Andrew Cuomo, both of them vying for the Democratic nomination. Mamdani wins that. Cuomo goes independent and tries to beat him again, loses again. Humiliated. Love that.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that during the collies.
We did. Yes, we did. Anyway, and now Mamdani has endorsed 3 candidates, all running for Democratic nominations for House seats in the House of Representatives, and they all won. Very excited.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not excited because they're socialists, but no, you are absolutely correct that he had an amazing week. All these candidates that he supported, I don't necessarily agree calling him a kingmaker. These people probably, maybe some of them might not have won, but the party was kind of trending in this direction anyway. Getting rid of a lot of corporatists and replacing them with some populists is not really that surprising in my view, but Mamdani definitely helped. The man is so charismatic that if he were able to, I would say within the next 10 years he would be president. He's that and he has that kind of energy behind him that if he were allowed to be, I think someday he would be president of the United States.
Yeah. But he's not allowed. Under the Constitution, you have to be born in America.
Good. I don't want a socialist in the White House.
He's a democratic socialist. It's not exactly the same thing.
Putting lipstick on a pig.
we've talked about that as well. And I feel like neither of us will convince the other.
No, my thing is social democrat is fine. Democratic socialist is not fine. I think they are
That's
social
where you draw the line.
democrats. It's very important. It's what is important. The qualitative element is the social democrat, and then the democratic socialist. I know it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but you're qualifying one with the other. Where you say, I'm democratically a socialist versus I'm socially a Democrat. And socialist to me is a bad thing. Just making it democratic does not make it a good thing. But being someone who is a Democrat who vies for socialist policies is not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. I, I get you, and I could weigh in, and we could spend the whole episode talking about that. But what I think is exciting, and New York, I love New York. Haven't been a lot, but it's such a great city, and you look at the kind of figures who come out of New York City, right? Bernie Sanders, obviously born and raised in New York. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? 2018 was the big story in New York.
Donald Trump.
And now with Zoran Mamdani, right? New York is producing a new brand of Democrat, right? A Democrat that I think meets the moment that we are in far more than your traditional kind of establishment Democrats. In a moment when people feel the system is rigged, it's controlled by money. There is an insurgent Democratic wing, the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, that are basically challenging the status quo. They're challenging the Chuck Schumers, the Nancy Pelosi's, right? The people that we have traditionally associated with the Democratic Party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, no, we can no longer be a party that accepts big donations and has super PACs.
Gives money to Israel.
Right? AIPAC has been a huge topic of discussion, right? And all these democratic socialists are all coming out strongly against Israel and saying it's a genocide. And what they're doing now in Lebanon. Did you see that tweet, by the way?
No, I don't have Twitter.
No, but it was just everywhere on the internet. Like maybe you saw it on Reddit or something. But the kind of public security minister, Ben-Gvir, does that name ring a bell to you?
Yes. Terrible human being.
Like, actually.
No, I know.
He tweeted out basically saying, for every Israeli mother who weeps tears, 1,000 Lebanese mothers will cry for their dead children. Like, he was basically just saying, like, I want to wipe out Lebanon. And it's really scary what Israel is doing right now. And Democrats, especially in New York, who are coming out against what Israel is doing, and so you're down with that. They're winning elections now.
Yeah, in that way, I like that because they're populists who want to bring money back home instead of sending it overseas to do horrible things. And it seems like for some reason the Democratic Party is doing two things. They're bringing in, okay, I guess they're not bringing in, but basically they end up running in primaries. You have a corporatist who takes money from AIPAC, who supports Israel, and then you have your democratic socialist who doesn't and who says, I want to spend money to make people's lives here better. And people are going, why the hell would we want to send our money overseas? That makes absolutely no sense. You're taking the same money from us anyway. I'm going to go with this guy who wants to give me health care, or girl. Who's going to give me health care instead of giving bombs to, little girls' schools in Iran.
Did you see the Iranian World Cup soccer team recently came out holding little pink, like, backpacks? Each of them, basically decrying the attack on that school.
No, it's tragic. What's happening over there, and we've not talked about it because I really didn't feel like I had a lot to say other than it's horrible and what's going on over there
Yeah.
shouldn't be happening. And until there's some real interesting developments, I don't really have much to say on it other than
Well,
it's terrible.
yeah.
Have you seen these propaganda videos that the Iranians are putting out?
The Lego.
They're amazing. I was
I have
singing them
watched
in
it.
my head while I was at work. It's ridiculous.
Yes, I have, and it's funny to see them go after Trump. Call him a pedophile and stuff.
It's hilarious.
It does frame the Iranian regime as like the good guy, right? And like
Which they're not.
we are, fighters of freedom. Like, no, you're not. You're you're terrible. You're a terrorist regime. Like,
Yeah.
it's bad guys versus bad guys.
It's just funny to it's just the videos are just hilarious. That's all it is. It's
They
like
are.
I don't support the regime. My values are completely against their values, but the videos they're putting out are hilarious. That's all I wanted to say. They're just fucking ridiculous.
I agree. They're funny. Um, yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Like, I like you don't have a ton to say. It's been, is there a ceasefire? No. Maybe. Yes. The deal is not a great deal. Is the Strait of Hormuz open? Is it closed?
Is Israel gonna abide by it? No, being the
That's
answer.
not even a question. That's just like a straight no. Uh, But one thing that I have noticed since the Iran war started is that Trump has stopped doing a lot of other crazy shit.
Mm.
Like, I'm thinking about, just all the appalling stories, like just unprecedented after unprecedented. I'm thinking about like ICE, for example, and all the crazy stuff we were hearing, and the tariffs. There were just like he was doing all this stuff, and he seemed very like empowered, and the House and the Senate, like Congress, was only doing his bidding, and he seemed for 2025 anyway, and the beginning of 2026 to be this like king-like figure, right? Who really had no checks on his power. But it feels like the Iran war has been the thing that has really neutered his presidency in the second mandate, and I think that it's less because they have not won the war, and that the war has just proven to be so much messier than they thought it would be. But it's the fact that gas prices and inflation more broadly have spiked, and that as a result, his popularity has like plummeted.
It's tanked. It's tanked to his lowest I think ever.
He's in like the 35%, 37% territory.
I thought it was down to 33 at one point, which is quite sad considering.
Maybe it depends on
The poll. Yeah, that was probably might have been an outlier.
In the mid 30s, right? Like, and that's very low.
No, I largely agree with that. I mean, one thing that you kind of notice, if you look at Barack Obama's presidency, the same thing kind of happens, but in a longer time span, where during the first half of his presidency, he was able to do a lot of stuff within the country, and then as he lost popularity and as he lost control of the House, he started to focus on international affairs, because that's where he has control over. Whereas once you no longer have the House and Senate, you don't have control over what legislation gets passed.
But that's after the midterms, right? And presidents usually lose the midterms.
Right. But this has all happened super rapidly with Donald Trump, where that first year he had the House, he had the Senate, they did what he wanted to do. But I think you're right, the Iran war has been so unpopular and this is the only thing he's focused on. because now there's kind of a gridlock that's starting to happen. They can't agree on what kind of things they want to even do in Congress because, well, probably because Donald Trump is focusing on the Iran war and not telling them what they should be doing. So really nothing's getting done on the domestic side. And, you know, they've got, 4-5 months till the election, till the midterms? And by then they're going to lose the House. They may very well lose the Senate, and then he'll get nothing done except international affairs. So I think that's why he's trying to wrap up the war now so quickly, so that he can focus on the midterms. Say, look, I dropped gas prices. You know, why were gas prices so fucking high to begin with?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I fixed the problem that I created.
And one of the things is, I think you said it destroyed his presidency, but it doesn't seem to have affected Republicans' views on it. But independents have just gone completely the other way. Like they want nothing to do with anything he's done at this point. Like from what I've seen, independents, they were like slowly seeping away their support, and then the Iran war happened, and they've just left because they have no interest. Like me, once he launched this war, I have nothing good to say at this point. You know, I was willing to do a little bit of defense here and there where I thought things were appropriate, and now at this point, I'm not even going to bother. There's no point.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I want to push back a little bit against that point about Republicans staying behind Trump. Republicans are not as aligned with Trump as they were last year. I think we can see that in the Republican nomination races that are happening. It's true that Trump, he is still picking candidates and endorsing candidates in a bunch of nomination races, but those candidates are like much more likely to lose to the Democrats. He doesn't seem interested in like winning the midterms. He seems interested in maintaining control over the Republican Party, even if it's not the party in power in Congress, right? And some of the Republicans who, you know, for example, someone who was running again for re-election and who Trump has come out against endorsing an opponent, those people are now very vocally coming out and challenging Trump, right? He was trying to create this $1.8 billion fund to pay out January 6th rioters.
Which, in my opinion, some of those people were mistreated, but that was mostly the people that they let in. Anyone who caused physical damage or assaulted people, that's a crime. That's not the same thing. Some people were let in, and those people...
What's the fund?
But
they're not even making those distinctions, though, Kieran.
No,
right?
I know.
They want a fund that basically says, if you do what I say, I'll pay you, right? With government money, but if you're on my team, you can actually make money by, like, rioting. You know what I mean?
They stepped away from that. They're not going to be doing that, from what I've heard.
But why? But why did they step away?
Because it was so unpopular?
But within Trump's own caucus, they all said, fuck this. We do not support this. And if you want to get this new immigration bill passed, right, to get new border security funding, you better drop this $1.8 billion fund.
Billion!
Right? And he did, right? But it was the first example that I can think of Republicans, like, en masse, not just like Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning, but like Republicans en masse saying to Trump, this is a bad idea, you better fucking drop it. And he did. He did, right?
I think that's a good sign, actually.
It is a good sign. It means he's not all powerful, even within the Republican Party.
It's that scene in 300 where Leonidas throws the spear and it just grazes the cheek of the... It would have been better if it killed the god King Xerxes, but it grazes him, making him bleed so that everyone sees, look, he's just a man.
Well, same thing in Avengers Infinity War, right? Where they get like a drop of blood out of Thanos.
Who's it that does that? Is it Captain America?
No, it's the fight on the moon, or like Thanos'
Oh
home
yeah.
planet.
Oh yeah.
Iron Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange,
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yes, that's right.
Um, anyway, but yeah, exactly. Gods can believe.
But they're not
Not
gods.
that Trump's a
That's the
fucking
point. They're
god.
not gods.
He's a fucking garbage demon fuck. I hate him so much.
Yes, we know.
Do you want to pivot maybe to more local stuff? We've been talking about the states.
And we'll be talking about them in the fall because they're gonna have elections, and we always seem to talk about it around then. I do want to say, Rip Thomas Massey. I'm sad to see you leaving Congress. You were the best of them.
He was one who Trump ousted, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and he's probably the best congressman that the Republicans had. Now he's gone. Well, not now, but he will be gone by January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you think Carney's doing?
Look, I don't like how much money Carney is spending. He's increased our national debt even more than I foresaw. Crazy amounts of money we're spending. I don't like that.
We're not spending.
We're investing. But here's my caveat. At least it's supposed to be going towards infrastructure projects. Things that are going to develop our country, it'll give people jobs. It'll also, make life better for people. So, really, it could be a lot worse. I'm not a fan of the guy, but we've had worse prime ministers, and
is that he's not the worst?
No, he's not the worst. He's not the best. So what do you want me to say? Is he better than Justin Trudeau? Absolutely.
I was reading between the lines there. He's not Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, he's not Justin Trudeau, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. Overall, I think he'll go down in history as a fine prime minister. Most Canadians have different values than me, so I think he's spending too much money. I don't know what the rest of Canada thinks. They probably like him at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Fuck was that?
So he remains incredibly popular, right?
Yeah.
His numbers are very good, in spite of everything, and it's interesting, right? Like he controls the center so well. I feel as though people on the left have a lot to say about him, and people on the right have a lot to say. And I'm talking kind of like further to
the edges,
the left and to the right.
Where you are.
Yeah, like
where I am.
Left. I don't totally subscribe to the left-right binary anymore, but let's just kind of simplify.
Someday we should do political compass tests on here for fun.
Well, it's multiple axes here.
Yes.
But I think he remains in the eyes of Canadians as like the protector. He remains the guy who is out, meeting different leaders, striking new deals. Like there was a moment recently where the Conservatives baked him a cake to celebrate his 100th day missing Parliament, like missing question period in the House of Commons. And I don't think that was very effective. Like they're trying to say like you're never here, you're always away, but it's like most Canadians are looking at his trips abroad and approving them.
Yeah,
right?
he's not playing. He's not playing golf on his resort.
That's right. He's out there making deals. So yeah, he remains very popular. He did have a big oopsie recently, where he said that he said something positive about the war in Iran. He said something.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was worth it or something.
Yeah, I did not like that. I forgot he said that.
But why would you say that? One, obviously it wasn't. We got nothing else to say. We, like the West. It's just like terrible.
I don't see how anyone could make the argument that that was worth it. It makes zero sense.
Nothing was achieved. Hundreds of billions of dollars were wasted, right?
Thousands of lives lost.
It injected into the military-industrial complex. Thousands of lives were lost, right? And it's like there was no gain.
The regime is more powerful now.
Carney was the guy at Davos who was like, we need to stand up to Trump. And like the only way that you can justify what he said was, oh, well, he was doing it to kind of buy favor with Trump, you know? And it's like, really? Like what? Which side are you on, right? Are you the tough guy who's going to stand with Europe and, you know, liberal democracies and say no to Trump? Or are you the guy who just, you know, licks his shoes? It's still not clear.
Yeah. One of the things that Carney did recently that I didn't like was his talking about pivoting towards China, doing more trade with China, trying to replace some of the trade that we do with the United States with China, and I don't think that's a good idea. As much as, you know, I have my problems with the United States, they're much more aligned with our values than the Chinese are, and I don't think it's a good idea. Maybe allowing certain things in, like Chinese electric vehicles are so much better than electric vehicles being produced in North America. Yeah, maybe it'd be nice if we could have some of those. But pivoting towards China for large-scale trade more than we do already, I don't think that's necessarily a good idea, and it seems like he's only doing it to spite the United States. I don't think it might be financially a good thing for us because things in China are generally cheaper, but I don't think geostrategically it's a good idea, giving more money and more power to one of the most authoritarian governments in the whole world.
Yeah, I don't know if I totally agree.
With that last statement, or what I said before?
They are authoritarian, no doubt about that. But is it really a bad thing that we're trading more with China than we used to? I think it depends on, and I'm not an economist.
Really?
But it really.
I know, because you're a socialist. Democratic.
Well, yeah, because those two things are mutually exclusive. But no, I don't know. I don't like this idea of we only trade with the good guys. You know, like that was Justin Trudeau's approach. Obviously, there is a way to, like, you know, Israel is the best example right now, right? Like, we should not be funding Israel, period, right?
Agreed.
They're you know, conducting genocide in Gaza. What's happening in Lebanon now, atrocious. But I think, you know, China's got some bad stuff going on, no doubt about it. But they're not committing genocide.
Well, some people say they're culturally committing genocide against the Uyghur Muslims, so...
Okay, but then Canada is committing genocide against the indigenous population.
This is not even comparable.
It is.
You're talking... No, these are vastly different. Like, they're apparently in China, they're giving forced vasectomies and things like that, so that this population can't reproduce. That's not the same thing. Like, we may have done some bad things, especially in the past as Canada. It's not even close. They might not be ethnically cleansing, but they're essentially making it so that that population doesn't continue into the future, which is not what we're doing here. You're not even close.
I admittedly can't speak too intelligently on the Uyghur situation, but I will say that, like, you know, Justin Trudeau was pushing a bill that ensured that every reservation in Canada had access to clean drinking water, affordable, clean drinking water. When he stepped down and prorogued Parliament, that bill died, and there has been no effort to revive it in the last year. Like, you know, you hear about like Flint, Michigan and stuff, but like when like Coca-Cola is cheaper than water, like that's what you're going to drink, right? And that's what so many communities in indigenous reserves are now drinking, like exclusively. You know, terrible for your health, and it's just kind of like we are not trying to right the wrong of what was previously a cultural genocide. And anyway, all to say, every country has a dark history. Every single one.
If you go far enough back.
Sorry?
If you go far enough back. I can't think of anything horrible that Finland has done.
I will find something.
Yeah, they were Vikings, I think.
Well, the Denmark is kind of the Viking country.
Yeah, but those are all in the same area. Clearly, there was going to be some
Scandinavian. Yeah. Anyway, I guess my whole point is that what I want is a stronger Canadian economy, one that is, you know, able to access markets that ultimately benefit the pocketbooks of Canadians, and you know, we need to be mindful of how we trade. But if we are only trading with like good guys, like with like the UK and France, like we're screwed, right? We're going to go into a deep recession very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't say we shouldn't trade with China. I just don't think making them integral to our economy the way that it seemed like the Carney was pushing us, or not necessarily pushing us, but pointing us. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm fine with us having trade with them.
I think it's trying to grow our trade opportunities everywhere. And I think that like it's not as though when trade barriers with the United States come down, and they inevitably will, right? Whether it be the next president or the one after that, the trade barriers that we currently have with the United States will come down, and we will resume trading with them in the way that we have previous to Trump, right? It's not as though we're going to go, no, like you know,
meanie head
to us, like you know.
What are we, 14-year-old girls?
Exactly. We will resume trading with the United States, but that doesn't mean that we can't find new opportunities. No.
This is Pickle. Say hi, Pickle.
Hi, Pickle.
She wants to go under a cat tree. Go ahead. She jumped up on my desk. That's why I brought her on.
Anyway.
Sorry for interrupting you.
We can talk about that more. It's interesting. We're kind of going into a bit of a lull right now. Like, you know, summer is typically not very news heavy. But when we come back, like the fall, at least for me, because we have the Quebec election coming up beginning of October.
We'll have to talk about
that.
Then
we have the midterms, right, which are going to be huge. And the midterms, of course, followed very closely by the beginning of, because of course the Americans are always in elections, but the end of the midterms basically signals the beginning of the presidential election.
The longest time between elections in the United States is after a presidential, before a midterm. You have about a year, and that's it. Because after the midterms, once you hit January, it's like boom, the next presidential cycle starts. After the presidential cycle, you get about a year. You get about till the next January before people start talking about the midterms. It's insane. Can you imagine, like, our elections, it's like what? It's like we hear about it for maybe like 40 days, and then it's over. We don't hear about it for another, well, minority government's 2 years. Majority government 4 years. No. But at least we're not the UK, who's had like 6 or 7 prime ministers in the last 10 years.
That place is crazy. Can't keep a prime minister.
Yeah, well.
My boss is in the UK right now. I told her, I was like, just be careful. Like, they're going to try to make you prime minister. Like, They'll take anyone at
There's
this
like
point.
a random homeless guy on the street. They're just
Yeah,
you're the prime minister for the next 13 hours.
that's right. You're the prime minister for as long as the head of lettuce is still good.
Do you remember that was a thing with
I know.
Liz Truss? Oh, I actually like Liz Truss, and I think she was correct. But anyway, the United Kingdom is a failing state in my opinion. It's a sad state of affairs.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing, because I don't live there.
That's right. I'm gonna watch.
I'm gonna watch it all burn.
Any last points that you want to bring up here? Anything you've been like thinking about, like maybe even a little bit more philosophically?
The thing that I thought would be an interesting topic for us to talk about in its own podcast, but I wasn't sure we'd have enough to actually bring up, was the concept of MAID, and whether or not we've gone too far with it in Canada. Because I'm the type of person who is supportive of MAID. I have a close, I don't know if I would say a friend of mine, but someone who's a friend of family who I've spent time with and done work for, who used MAID. They had severe cancer, and I thought it was a good use of MAID for him to take because he was in pain. He was gonna die soon anyway. He'd already been to hospice. They sent him home. But I'm hearing these stories of people with just minor mental illnesses, seasonal depressions, who are getting authorized for MAID, and just that kind of thing. Like, MAID for mental illness to me seems ridiculous, considering that's what therapy's for. Like, people can get better. It's one thing if you have a terminal illness or you're like 900 years old, but it's another if you have something that's curable. Like
Doctor, I'm 900 years old, and I can't seem to die. I need some help.
Time won't take me.
Time. Yeah.
Oh, it's an elf. Elves in Lord of the Rings don't die naturally.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. Or he's Master Roshi.
I was wondering about that. Quick Lord of the Rings tangent. Sorry to the viewers, but
No, I love it.
when Arwen is like giving up her immortality for Aragorn, does she ever actually do it? Is she ever actually mortal?
I believe her decision to stay in Middle Earth and be with Aragorn is her resigning herself to a life of mortality.
No, but technically.
I don't know.
Okay, so she gives him the even star,
Yes.
right? The necklace. That's not her immortality, is it?
No. It's just a symbol
that's
of her
just
love.
That's just like a promise ring.
Yeah, which apparently if she dies, the light will go out. Elf magic.
Right, okay, but is there any point in the movies or the books where Arwen is not immortal?
Yeah, I think her decision to stay in Middle Earth at the end is her...
It makes her immortal?
I think that's one of the reasons that the elves are all leaving. Is I think... I'm not 100% sure. I think... Anyway. Yeah, I think her decision to stay is her resignation to mortality.
Just because I was kind of like... Pardon me, but like... What? How does that actually... Like, is the plan... Like, she kind of is like, Aragorn, like, I'm going to die after you die. Is she going to, like, kill herself or what? Like...
I don't know.
It just, you know, they make a big deal about it, right? I choose a mortal life. It's like, what does that mean?
I mean, she's going to grow old and die. Just like the rest of us. Except very slowly, because Aragorn is 90, and he looks great. He looks younger than I do.
87. But, like, so it just, like, happens. Like, she's just like, I'm mortal now, and then she's mortal.
I don't know,
She changes
Nicholas.
her mind, right? She changes her mind. Twice.
Yeah, she changes, and then she changes it back. She's like, I want him. I want immortality. No, I want him. To be fair.
Well, her dad convinces her, right?
Yes.
And then she's leaving, and then she sees the vision of her son, and then she stays.
To be fair, I would give up immortality for Aragorn.
I think you're going to say Harwin.
Yeah, Liv Tyler is a very pretty woman, but nope, I was going gay with it.
You know what? Aragorn's worth it.
As we discussed in episode 5 of our podcast, Aragorn is the essence of positive masculinity.
Man, he is the man.
No, but anyway, back to the subject at hand. What do you think about the situation of Maid in Canada? Philosophically, are you okay with Maid? Is it something that we should be giving more liberally, less liberally?
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with it. I haven't heard those stories. My grandmother was gonna do Maid, and then changed her mind on the day that it was scheduled to happen. So my experience of it was very much like, it's kind of like you have to agree like 3 or 4 times, right? Mm-hmm. You have to really make it clear that you want it, or if you're not able to, that like the family has really made the decision that they feel is best for their parent.
Yep.
Right. I think aging is hard. I think old people, you talk to any younger person, the age of 60, like none of them say like, oh, I want to end up in like an old folks home and like, eating out of a tube. Like, I feel as though everyone has this idea of like, I don't want to be a burden when I get too old. I don't want to live uncomfortably. When it's time, it's time. And so for me, Maid is a good thing because when that time comes, you have a choice, right? You have an opportunity to, end your life in a way that is not at all painful, that is very peaceful. It gives you your chance to say goodbye to your loved ones and then to pass on, right? And to save your loved ones from years, potentially, of really challenging decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I fully support it. Obviously, there needs to be very clear consent. Can't throw that around. I can't speak to these mental health cases that you mentioned.
So actually, I'll touch on this first. This is a story that I heard recently that connects to your point about, not wanting to be a burden, feeling useful. I heard about, I don't remember which country it was. It was in Europe, and it was during the war. All these old people were living and they were helping out in the households with the families, with the children. And then after the war, all the men came home and there's peace. A bunch of them just died because they were serving a purpose during the war. They were helping. They were being productive members. And then once the war ended, and all the men came home and they weren't required, and I don't mean like 60 I'm talking like elderly people, and a bunch of them just up and died over the course of the next few years because they served their purpose, and sometimes it keeps people going.
Purpose is what keeps us going. It's what gets us out of bed in the morning, right? That was a Matrix reference for anyone who didn't get it.
I'm glad you got that. We were just talking about that before the podcast.
Yeah. I almost think that like we need to start a new podcast about just like great books and movies and TV shows.
I'm not against it.
Oh, dude, the just because I can.
More tangents.
New House of the Dragon season 3 just started on Sunday. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's finally hit its stride. Often takes 3 seasons.
I'm glad to hear it.
But it got there, and like episode 1, you can just see right away, like, okay, yeah, peak television.
I it's completely unrelated to our discussion, but I have a theory about television shows, and it's basically they either start out good and slowly decline in quality, like your Daredevils. Season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix is a fucking great season of TV, and slowly they got worse. Things like that. And then you have other shows that, they're pretty good when they start out, and then they get better and they peak at some point and they might go down, but they stay very good. Your Next Generations, Star Trek The Next Generation, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like lots of shows, they start out, the first season is rocky, but then by season 3, as you're saying, they hit their stride and it's fucking quality
Yeah.
the rest of the way through.
Can you name any TV show in which the last season is the best season?
The last season is the best season. No, generally, that's one that popped into my head. That's the first one that popped into my head. Generally, I think in television series that I can think of, seasons 3 or 5 are usually the best ones.
3, 4.
It depends on their length. Like if I were to pick, like season 5 is my favorite season of Next Generation. Season 5 is my favorite season of Deep Space Nine. Season 3 and 5 are my top 2, are my favorite seasons in Buffy. So like I think and I watch a fair amount of TV shows. When you have let's say 6 to 8 seasons, which is that's a fairly good length for a TV series. I think 3 or 5, 3, 4, 5 are often right there in the middle. That's where you get your best work.
Yeah. I think it's tricky. Like, it's not a coincidence that these shows don't finish like as strong as they do either at the beginning or in the middle. But it's because you're so much more constrained at the end of a show, right? Yeah. You need to end the story, right? You need to give every character like a satisfying conclusion. You need to wrap up all your plot points. Like you have so much more to do, so much less freedom to just like explore characters and like kind of go in kind of interesting directions and give time to characters to just like have incredible dialogue. Like the writing in seasons 3 and 4 of Game of Thrones, for me, is the best writing, period.
I've never gotten that far watching it, but I've seen clips like what's the young girl's name? Arya?
Sorry?
The younger daughter. The one, I don't remember which girl she is, but she's the younger of the daughters. And she
Arya?
Yeah, that's what I said, Arya. I've seen clips of her when she's working for, is it Tywin, his name?
Yeah.
Those conversations that they have are so good.
Yeah.
What's his name? Charles Dance?
Tywin has the best dialogue with everyone. There's a scene.
He's an amazing actor.
There's a scene in season 3 between Tyrion and Tywin. It is so epic. Just the conversation. He basically says, like, I want my birthright. And he basically says, like, I'll never give our, ancestral home to you, dwarf. Like, it's so intense. There's another great scene, where does power reside? The riddle. You must have seen that.
No.
Can I tell it to you really quick? It's very fast. Very fast.
Go ahead.
So this is the Master of Whispers, Varys, who asks Tyrion Lannister this riddle, and he goes: 3 great men stand in a room together. Between them stands a common sellsword. The first man is a king, and he says, in the name of your king and country, he commands the soldier to strike down the other 2. The second one is a priest, and he says, in the name of your God, strike down these other 2. And the third man is a rich man, and the rich man says, strike down these other 2 and I'll make you rich. What does the sellsword do? What's your answer?
My assumption would be that number one, he doesn't care about God. This is a person who is a mercenary for hire. I don't think he's going to listen to the priest. And since he is a merchant for hire, I would also say that king and country doesn't mean anything to him.
But ultimately, no matter what he decides, is it not him who has the power? Right? Basically, Tyrion says the same thing as you did, which is depends on the guy, right? If he's a religious man, if he's a patriotic man, if he is a greedy man, right? Depends. But ultimately, is it really wealth and the power of God and the power of status, right, as king that gives us power, or is it the power of life and death, right? And why is it that our world, in case Game of Thrones, the world is ruled by kings and priests and wealthy merchants and not by sellswords? And so he finishes by saying power resides where people believe it resides. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And incredible writing.
Yeah, well, it's one series that that I have on my list to watch, but I have not yet because I have so many.
I can't believe that, Kieran. You and I have been friends for over half of our lives now, and
Yes.
you haven't watched my favorite show.
You've never watched my favorite show, so go fuck yourself.
Your favorite show is like a niche little show. My favorite show is like the biggest thing to ever be made.
My favorite television show is the first TV show to have a college course about it. A university level course was the first TV show to ever have that. It's not a niche little show.
Are we talking about Hogan's Heroes or Buffy?
Hogan's Heroes is not my favorite TV show. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's the greatest television show of all time. I'm exaggerating, but it is legitimately one of the best TV shows. It sounds ridiculous because the name is ridiculous, but it's not. It's not ridiculous. The internet will back me up on this.
The internet.
Me, the singular straight man who loves Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Everyone else is either a woman or a gay man.
Why are there a lot of like attractive men in the show?
Well, yes, number one. Number two, there's also one of the first major homosexual couples that is taken seriously and shown true respect in their relationship, and they're not just hot lesbians. They are lesbians, but they have character, and they're interesting, and their relationship is not just, look, they're doing hot lesbian things. So a lot of LGBT folks, really, that show really matters to them.
Not LGBT, by the way.
I don't care.
It's
2SLGBTQAAI plus.
No.
I don't know.
No.
MMIW. There's too many letters. There's too many letters.
MMI W C 2S LGBTQIA two I's LGBTQIA plus.
It's too many letters. But yes.
And symbols.
See, even you, a progressive man, can't even take it seriously. That's why it's gone out of hand.
There's a difference between progressive and woke. I was just having this conversation. Like, I am a big supporter of the LGBTQ community. Like, do whatever you want, love whoever you want. Like, I don't care.
Me neither. You want to bang dudes in your house? Go right ahead.
About everything, like, just cool. Anyway, I straight white man, you can't. Tricky, but like, I don't know. You just, anyway.
You're squirming a little. It's funny.
I'm squirming a little bit. I'm imagining like this being found when I run for office. If and when I run for office, and it's being found, and then be like, ooh.
If. Talk about if. Follow in your father's footsteps. Run.
And lose.
I didn't want to say it. It was there. I just started to stop myself.
Oh, fuck.
I think I have a better chance in my area than you do in yours.
Come on. I can win an election.
I think you could, but I think just because of the small community nature of my area, I think it would be easier.
Yeah. You probably don't have a ton of super well-qualified candidates, do you?
We have a
By the
decent.
sheer size of your population.
We have a decent amount. Like my national riding runs all the way up into Hanwell. You remember where Hanwell is?
Yeah. Rings a bell, but I don't know.
Anyway, it's basically a suburb of Fredericton. So like there's intelligent, highly educated people in the area. Just
Yeah.
none of them run for office.
I think this is a good place to wrap up. Sorry, it's been a little bit all over the place.
You could end this podcast 20 minutes ago and you would have got the same information, except for Nick and I's talking about media.
But if anyone wants to go behind the scenes, this is like a special edition where they kind of get a taste of.
This is what happens when Nick and I don't have a structure for what we're planning on talking about. We end up just randomly talking about movies and TV shows.
Pretty much. Although I'm not watching as much of the new stuff anymore. I've given up on superhero movies pretty much completely.
Same. I might watch Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Not in theaters.
Spider-Man made. But even Spider-Man, I don't really like that stuff anymore. I just feel like it's all the same.
We were talking about Star Wars before we recorded. I forgot. I was going to say this because the reason I had asked you what order to watch the Star Wars movies in is because apparently, and I can't confirm this completely, but apparently they're planning on re-releasing the original trilogy in theaters for their 50th anniversaries. And so that means next year Episode 4 will be released in theaters in its original form.
77. That's right.
And I was gonna bring my son. He'll be 4 at the time, and I think I was about that age when I first saw Star Wars. I think it would be a good experience for him.
A bit young.
That's how old I was. My brother watched Jurassic Park when he was 4, and there's a severed arm in that movie, and a guy who gets eaten on the toilet.
Well, that explains your brother then.
Yeah.
Say no more. Let's wrap it up.
Thanks for stopping by, folks.